Cross this bridge, this emotional Golden Gate Bridge. Your cars will pass on these bridges. And hopefully we're going to be able to share some things so that you both will feel comfortable in driving on that bridge without requiring each other to totally change and become something that maybe you're not.
Bridging the gender gap. This is so amazing because if you don't understand this, what ends up happening, you begin to expect the same things from your spouse that you expect when you're in their shoes, and that doesn't happen.
No, then your needs end up not getting met because we have some fundamental differences.
I mean, we've had our biggest fights when I would say, this is what I want because this is what I feel. And he would say, doesn't matter what you feel, this is, how it is. It makes no logical sense, or something like
Your
that.
feelings make no logic.
Right, yeah, and, give me some facts. Do you have some data on why this is important? And I would have nothing but my mushy heart. And at this point, mashed heart.
In fact, let's take a look at kind of the classic example of solving problems. And it's almost a cliche. You all know the answer, but when it comes to solving problems, we know that men and women approach problems differently, right? How do men approach problems? I just want the women to answer. What do? You bring a problem home to a man and he wants to, right? He's going to give you 3 easy solutions to make your whole life better. Why do we do that, guys? Because that's what we do. Been thinking through that answer a lot, haven't you? Yeah. It is what we do. And women, I want you to know this. When we try to solve your problem, we're giving you the best we know how to give. I mean, because when a guy has a problem, really what we want is for that problem to go away.
As a man, I do like to solve problems and get them over with.
He learned very early on that when I come home and I'm venting from work, he doesn't need to solve a problem. He just needs to listen.
Solve our problems.
He just needs to listen.
And whereas I kind of want to solve the problem. Okay, now that the problem's solved, you should be feeling better. And it doesn't work that way.
I finally was like, baby, shh. I'm talking. When I'm done, that's it. You don't even need to say anything. You can mentally check out. Just be a sounding board. And when we start to resolve a conflict, I'm feeling every emotion. It's triggering all the things that have happened in the past, and he's dealing in the moment. And I'm not understanding why he doesn't see the whole picture, and he's just direct and to the point, and I'm thinking, but I was hurt back then. And he's so good at that now. I'm like, all right, you ready? I'm going to vent.
Yes, solving her problems, bad idea.
It doesn't matter to us whether you understand the problem or not. If you can make it go... In fact, that's the only reason we're talking about it, is because we've tried on our own to make it go away, and now we need some help, right? And so when we give you a solution to a problem,
You're giving us your best gift.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel that way.
Amazing gift.
Yeah.
No. In fact, and it's so different for women because we don't necessarily want our problems fixed. When we have a problem, we like to explore that problem. It's a totally different feeling. We like to get it out there and kind of look at all the facets of that problem and kind of, explore and expose every kind of thing about it.
Yeah, and so when I bring a problem home to Leslie, does she try to fix my problems? No, she does. She just does that thing. She wants to explore. She wants to look at all the many sides of my problem, and she'll tell me about how she had a problem once that was similar to that problem, only it was different. In fact, she had a girlfriend that had a problem similar to that too. And so we're going to talk all about the problem, right? And in fact, not too long ago, I brought a problem home, and I had this kind of proposal at the university I was pretty excited about. Worked on it for a couple months, and I thought, this is going to be great. But I went into that committee meeting, and they just shot it down. It was just poof. It was gone. I came home, told Leslie about it, and you remember what you said? I mean, you started exploring the problem.
I thought, here's my opportunity. I can let you know that I'm with you.
She said, that thing you've worked on for like 2 months, they just shot it down. I said, yeah, it's gone. She said, you worked so hard on that. She said, I can't imagine how you must feel. Yeah. And then she said, you must feel devastated. Yeah. I guess I do. I didn't know my problem was so big until we started talking about it. Right?
It's my great gift to you.
But that's what it's like.
Yeah,
when we're
exactly.
Men and women are different.
But,
on
you
this.
know, let me just be fair. What happens whenever whenever I bring a problem to Les, what do you think he tries to do with that? Because, you know, if he doesn't try to fix it right away, he doesn't do that exploring thing. I'll tell you, another option is to sort of minimize it, make it seem like, oh, that's insignificant.
And that's a great point, because if I have a problem, and most guys have a problem, we want to hear, hey, it's not that big a deal, you're going to get over it. Isn't that true, guys? Just like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal, somehow you'll get through this. Not so for women.
I don't know a woman who wants to hear that. Am I right about this? You know, let me give you a quick illustration, just to be fair, on the other side. Because I committed to take you to the airport. You had a midweek trip, and I didn't have anything on the schedule, so I promised to be your ride, and I just thought it'd be great to connect. And so we scheduled it. Well, when the morning arrived, things hadn't turned out the way I'd planned. Because, first of all, our little guy Jackson had been up all night the night before with a high fever. So I was just grumpy. I had had no sleep. I was worried about this little guy, needing to get him to the doctor. And so there was that. Then, to top it all up, it snowed that night in Seattle, which we get like once a year. So, I mean, it's just crazy. It never snows. You guys know that in Seattle. And so we had 2 hours late start for the school bus, and it was crazy. We live on a hill, so getting, to the bus was exhausting. And by the time I got back to the house, I hadn't been able to fill the gas tank up in the car. I was crabby. I didn't feel like driving you to the airport at all, but I said I would do it. So I remember running in the house. So we got to go right now. We don't have enough gas in the tank. So, Les said, okay, I'll be right there, but he had a few things to still check off on his to-do list. So he had to get those done, and by the time he came down, took a look at his watch, turned on the car, looked at the gas gauge, saw kind of what we had, and said, you know what, we're going to have to get to the airport, and you can fill the tank up after you drop me off. So
I thought we had plenty of gas to get to the airport, and then she could just fill up the tank right after that.
yes, you did.
Yes.
So, I wasn't that comfortable with it, but I went ahead and drove. Well, you drove, because we had to get there pretty fast.
Right.
So, we got to the airport, and you hopped out and kind of scurried out because you were worried you were going to miss your flight. And so, I just quickly waved goodbye, and I'm taking off. And as I'm pulling out, now, when Les hopped out, he said, look, we've got 6 miles left to empty, on the gauge, so that reports that. And he's like, you're set. So as I pull through the airport, by the time I get to the end of the terminal, it's dropped down to 0, and I am not happy about that. So I picked up my cell phone and tried to call Les, but I knew he was just checking in. He didn't pick up. But I left him a very detailed message about my situation. I'm out here. There's 0 miles to empty. We've got the sick baby I'll probably be carrying on the side of the road through the snow. And I just let him know what was going on because I thought you wanted to be informed.
Yeah, it was a very helpful thing to get that information. Yeah.
So, but I made it to the gas station. It wasn't that far away. And then I just kind of laughed and thought, oh, this, it's over. And so I get out to put the gas in, and I realized, oh, man, Les got out really fast, and I forgot to ask for cash, and I haven't been to the bank, and I haven't got any. So I get my credit card out and think, okay, that'll work. And I pop it in the pump, and it comes up declined. Now, that has never happened to me. I'm in total shock. So I get the baby out of the car, go into the guy and say, something's wrong with your pump. And he's like, lady, it's your card. So I go back out, call you on the cell phone again. Fortunately, you answered this time. And I say, look, there's no money, and the card's been declined, and there's no gas. And you said, oh, I know what it was. I bought a big computer purchase. You'll just need to get that cleared. And now he's giving me all the instructions, and he can feel that I'm not excited about this, okay?
And I wanted to encourage her.
Yeah, so in order to encourage me, he says, buck up, Leslie, you can handle this. So,
What?
I did buck up, and went through 45 minutes to get the card cleared. Finally got gas in the tank. I'm finally headed home, and Jack's asleep in the back. He's, so I know he's okay. And the whole ride home, I'm thinking about that conversation. So as soon as I got in the door, tucked in Jackson, went right to my computer and shot Les a little email with the subject heading "Buck Up." And I had some words to say about how I experienced that nice little gesture in the midst of my problem.
Yeah, so I get to Chicago. I'm having my dinner meeting before I'm seated at the restaurant. I thought, I'll download my email on my little cell phone, see what's going on. And I'm downloading all these. I see the subject lines coming through, and I see one roll past that says "Buck Up." And I just said, uh-oh. And Leslie was kind enough to give me some alternative responses I could have said in that situation.
I'm good about that. Because as women, we like to hear, how overwhelming this must be for you, and, and thank you for working so hard and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. And it must have been overwhelming. I mean, seriously. It really must have been tough.
Yeah, the truth is, you would have wanted that. You
Yeah,
think you would have
absolutely.